Welcome to the favorites presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Happy Thursday. Week 12 has arrived. I'm Brandon Kravitz, joined by your two faves and my two faves, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, Stuckey, and the Queen of the Pod, Miss Kendra Middleton. We'll hear from them momentarily. On today's episode, we'll submit our official plays of the week. We've got our stat of the day, two Kings and a Queen parlay, Kendra's prop, action or distraction, the football talk that you came for, and hopefully we deliver some wins along the way. Let's kick things off with Evan Abrams' shrimply unbelievable stat of the week, straight from the primer. JJ McCarthy has been awful, and it's difficult for me to quantify just how bad he's been, but Evan does a really nice job here. JJ McCarthy, 7 of 23 passing. That's 30% on third and fourth downs with 5 yards to go or less. 30 quarterbacks have 20 plus pass attempts in that spot this year. The closest to McCarthy on the awfulness scale is Jaden Daniels, who we haven't seen too much of this year, at 43%. So we're talking about 13 percentage points worse in those third and fourth down and short situations. They play the Packers. The Packers can't cover spreads. They're 3-7 ATS this year. I would love to fade the Vikings here, but I just don't know if I can trust the Pack with our money. Kendra, are you out on JJ McCarthy already?
I talked about this on our show earlier this week. I think so. Once he released this alter ego 9, shit really hit the fan with him. And I kind of am okay with it. Once you come out and say something like that about yourself, I think not only is it fair for people to be like, all right, but also maybe you should be like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And I get that it's like a marketing thing or whatever, maybe, but it just doesn't feel like a good spot to be on either of these teams because we talk about it week in and week out. It's identity, right? And neither of these teams really have an identity right now. I think Stuckey too would love for it to be Max Brosmer season.
Yeah, you guys are Brosmer bros. What about you, Stucky? Are you this is a hard game to buy into because you want to bet Packers. You can't bet the Vikings with this guy at quarterback right now. You just can't complete the simple throws. Where do you land on that?
Yeah, I'm out on him right now. I mean, it's still only a sample size of 5 games, so it doesn't mean that he can't turn it around. I mean, there's been countless examples of quarterbacks who are a disaster in their first year as a starter and turn around. He's right now he has major touch issues, like he has no touch on his short passes, and then he has extreme mechanical problems in the way that he's throwing the ball. I mean, like your power has to come from your hips and you when he throws to the left, there's a ton of videos out about this. When he throws to the left specifically, like he's locking out his hip and just trying to throw it with his arm. I mean, he has a 55% catchable ball rate throwing to his left. No other quarterback in the NFL is below 69.
Nice.
That's bad. And like you saw it last week, there was wide open uh, Jefferson, a wide open Addison that he just completely missed. I think 3 or 4 times throwing to the left, and he just has this like it's a mechanical flaw. So that can be fixed. Maybe not overnight. Might be an off-season thing. He generally has like the right reads, but until I see otherwise, like from a betting perspective, all I care about is the now. And like last week was that was the game you had to see it. He was indoors against a really bad beat up defense after he played some tough defenses. And the fact that it just wasn't there yet is pretty troubling. So I'm pretty much out on him this year. Doesn't mean he can't turn it around. I'm not a quarterback expert, so I can't say whether or not that'll happen. But for the time being, I'm out on
I,
McCarthy.
I I think that we judge him more harshly. We judge every quarterback harshly, but I think we hold him to a different standard because most quarterbacks don't start their NFL career with Justin Jefferson
I
and
was just
Jordan
gonna say that.
Addison.
Well, and a
Yep. And
And
really
he has,
good
yep.
offensive line and a good play caller.
yeah, and Kevin
So
O'Connell. Good
Quarterback
point.
whisperer as a coach.
yeah, he definitely is in a really good spot. And we've seen O'Connell do more with less. So yeah, but it doesn't mean that he's cooked. for his career, but
He'll
it's
probably be one of these guys that has to go to another team in a couple of years, and that's when we'll see his resurgence, like the trend that's been going on through the last couple of seasons. On the note of Jordan Addison, though, I get that he hasn't had the quarterback to throw to him that we thought maybe he would, but I've also been kind of disappointed in how little they do target him in the offense.
I wonder if it's just because his JJ's deep ball has not been good, and that's kind of where Jordan Addison
Yeah,
lives.
that's his. Yeah.
Um, yeah, we love this idea from production. The Vikings should release JJ McCarthy and then re-sign him so that Kevin O'Connell can rehab a first round quarterback. That's good. I like that psychological game played with JJ McCarthy. So we have our plays that we're going to submit at the end of the episode. Right now, we are crossing that one, I think, off the list. The Packers favored by 6.5. Back to football in a moment. Time to delve into the weird, the bizarre, the random. Let's kick it over to Stuckey for our random question of the week.
all right. If sports disappeared tomorrow, all sports were no longer a thing. All right, the aliens came down, landed on Earth, took over everything, and banned sports. But everything else is the same. What would what would you be doing in a month? What do you think you'd be doing in a month for work? And versus what you would want to be doing. So like your ideal job, realistic. Obviously it can't be like just I'll be the biggest movie star in the world or the quarterback for the Vikings. So what do you think you'd end up doing? And versus what you would ideally want to do. I mean, I'll start. I'd probably end up going back into finance in some form or fashion. That's where I came from. Still have a lot of, but I still have my degree, CFA, blah, blah, blah. So that would be the easy jump. Down the line when I retire, like the path that I was on, I wanted to eventually become a professor. Um, but that's like way down the line. What I'd really want to be doing though is open like my wife's a phenomenal cook and bartender, runs bar, so run like a bar restaurant in on an island somewhere. But how about you, Brandon?
I think I'd become like an alien assistant at that point. I think if they're coming down and taking over, I'd probably work for one of them. You got to kind of get in where you fit in a little bit. But I can go in a couple of different directions here because I graduated with a psychology degree. So there's what I should do, there's what I would do, and then there's what I would love to do. So what I should do is I don't know, become a social worker, a therapist, like one of those things where I can use that degree that right now, like, I mean, I guess there's some psychology in sports betting, not really using it. So that went to waste. And what I would be doing is bartending because that's where outside of this industry I've made the most money in my life, and I'm a pretty decent bartender in a past lifetime. But what I would love to be doing, and I don't know if this would still exist based on your rules of engagement here, but I always had a dream of being a professional wrestler. And I don't know if that counts as a sport.
Wait, what would
So
your
maybe
wrestling
that
name
would,
be?
you would think I'd put more thought into that. That might have to be a
Wow.
next week answer, but would definitely consider that if that still counts. Those are my three answers. I couldn't decide on one. What about you, Kendra?
I think the obvious answer would be just to go back into news. But what I would never do that, but what I would do, I have two answers. One, I would enroll in culinary school immediately and like try and focus on like healthy food, paleo food, like that whole vibe. Or my friends and I have joked about opening a nursing home for just women and where you could buy like reserve like a wing for you and your girlfriends because like obviously the birth rate has declined so much and women are staying single and not getting married and having kids and like all that stuff. So I think that I would open like a nursing home for the girls.
That might still happen. Stucky, it doesn't surprise me at all that Kendra had a fully loaded answer ready to go. Like it sounds like she's already got a business plan for her answer.
But yeah, I don't mind that. That's going to be good business in the future. Nursing home.
Yeah, like nursing home for the gals where everybody can just like get hammered and hang out and like talk shit. Like that's the vibe.
By the way, I did this name generator for pro wrestlers. It said I typed in your name, but it spit out Brian Royale with cheese Miller. I don't know. I don't know why.
I think I can make that work. Maybe call me the big cheese. Something
We
like that.
Scatterbo at the WWE the other night. Can we talk about that? The tweets were crazy. Someone was like talking about how a week ago he had his ankle up his ass and now he's fighting at WWE with his
I
squad.
I was actually where I have him in a dynasty league. I was a little worried about him being out there for that, but
Oh man,
uh
that was good. His live streams are also crazy. He did a shoey of like an energy drink the other night. Said he picked the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I'm like, you know what? Whatever.
Evan, what would you do? The aliens eliminated our sports. By the way, the aliens for this. That was really not a
I'm
cool
pro
move.
alien. I think that genuinely we are an alien child Sims video game and they just don't mess with us because when you walk by an ant pile, you don't just kick it to kick it. Like, unless it gets out of control, you don't do anything. You just let it vibe. And then when it gets out of control, you just extinguish it. I think that we are an aliens ant pile.
That's an off-season episode. Evan, what would you do?
Stocks, weather, and animals. Stocks because
Like
it's,
all at once, or these are
no,
separate
those
jobs?
those would be the three avenues I'd probably take. Stocks because I do it anyway. I already understand the game. Weather because you don't have to be right all the time, and it's a great job. And I love animals, so I'd
That's
probably
kinda
go
like
that
this one.
direction.
What would you do with
Yeah.
animals?
Oh, I mean, listen, I know so many people that have tried to be vets. Being a vet is so difficult. The things you have to learn, like the education and this. I'm just great with animals and I love animals. So if you're pushing me down an avenue, I'd probably end up going that avenue
So, like
anyway.
a pet sitter?
Or yeah, something I don't know. Like I try to get education in it. There's a million different ways to get into like trying to do it and making it a career. But it's just if it's something you love and you love like being with animals, I love going to zoos in other countries, stuff like that. Like it would probably be a direction I would head.
You could be a cat breeder.
There you go.
Time to get into action or distraction. Shador Sanders drawing the start for the Cleveland Browns. Action or distraction and auto fade on Shador Sanders, whether that's betting the Raiders, whether that's betting his passing prop under 159.5, in case you were curious. Stucky, action or distraction, auto fade Shador.
This wrestler name generator, by the way, is awful. It always gives you the last name Miller. Kendra, you would be Gina Sunshine Miller.
My name was almost Tabitha. I feel like it would have to be like Tabby Joe or something like that.
Tabitha definitely sounds like somebody with a path towards pro wrestling.
Yes.
Action. I mean, I'm fading Shador. I don't think he's ready. Everything I've heard, he's not ready. Everything I saw last week, he's not ready. I mean, you go back to the preseason game against the Rams, like fourth string guys. They didn't bring anybody to that game in Cleveland, and he took 4 or 5 sacks in a quarter. I mean, you go back those last two games, his last two appearances, he has 31 dropbacks for -7 yards. 31 dropbacks for -7 yards. He can't handle the blitz, can't read a defense. He's not even that fast to get away. I know the Raiders' defense isn't great, but they take away explosive plays. They're going to make the Browns drive the field, and they're just going to send the blitz. They're not dumb, and I don't think Shador can handle it. So, like, the Raiders have been awful. Their offensive line is awful. They have no running game. Gino's been bad. I get it all, but I have one quarterback who's like a serviceable NFL quarterback at home and one who's not ready. So I'm going to side with the one who has started games and is an NFL starting caliber quarterback. And the Browns defense is just not the same on the road. I don't know how many times I got to say it. I say it every week. I bet the Browns last week. I bet the Browns at home almost every time. I think they're always undervalued at home, overvalued on the road. Now, a lot of that comes down to their defense. Over the past 3 seasons, the most profitable team in the NFL at home, it ain't the Lions and the degenerate Dan Campbell. It's the Browns. They're 63% against the spread at home. The least profitable team on the road, it's the Browns. They're 5-17 against the spread on the road, 22.7%. They're failing to cover by about a touchdown per game. So they're not even close. Why is that? Well, their offense always stinks, and their defense isn't as dominant as it is at home. It's a different animal at home. So I like the Raiders.
Yeah, twist my arm on that one. Kendra, would you rather attack this via the Raiders side? Because I kind of get the sense that we're in a show agreement here. or the prop angle of just going after Shador and maybe taking some
No.
unders?
No, I'm all over the Raiders here as a whole. Stuckey said a lot of what I was going to say, but also they've been a little inconsistent with their scoring and who they've beat. There's really no pattern to if they beat good teams, bad teams, whatever. I think that it's more so that they're due for a win. Browns on the road. I think Shador is a bad quarterback. I think his confidence is probably hurt. I think Max Crosby is going to have a career game this weekend. I'm just all over the Raiders. It's a spot for them where they are due for a win. The Browns have had their fun. They've beat the teams that people didn't think that they would. I think that this says Raiders all over it. So I'm going to rock with the Raiders this weekend. You can here's the thing. The reason that I'm not on the Shador prop market is because the Browns could still lose and he could have a good showing. It'd be great for the NFL. It'd be great for Josina Anderson. It would be great for the storylines. It'd be great for the money of, the Sanders comeback. He's going to be okay, blah, blah, blah. That he can play a good game and they can still lose because of the defense. So I don't think he's going to play a good game, but that's the only thing holding me back is that I do have my tinfoil hat on a little bit, but I'm all over the Raiders here.
Evan, I want to bring you in for this because the betting percentages on the Action Network app are surprising to me. That I would think with the consensus that we have on this Raiders Browns game, and we might need to fit this into the parlay, by the way. This feels like a pretty obvious opinion to fade a guy that might not be ready for an NFL game. 82% of the bets are on the Cleveland Browns. Does that surprise you, Evan?
But I was just going to say, he's the most popular and polarizing person probably in the league right now. I think people who are gambling on him are gambling on just I want to bet on Shador. Is it the right bet? No, I think we all kind of like the Raiders in this spot. Truthfully, the angle I take in this game is I'd look for sacks, between him and Geno and the defensive lines on both sides. I just assume, and that's why the total is going to end up closing at 35.
35 indoors. Yeah, there could be 12,
indoors.
13 sacks in this game. The Browns are going to have a ton of sacks too.
Yeah.
The reason I can't play the under is just because I'm afraid of, I had the Browns plus 8.5 last week. They were up
What about
6
first
in the fourth
half?
quarter.
What about first half understuck?
Maybe, but I don't. When do the short fields come? They're gonna be pick sixes. I had for one quarter only. I had the Browns plus 8.5. They were up 6 at home with a dominant defense, and I was holding on for dear life. I was like, I'm gonna lose this bet, and they ended up losing by 7. Because Shador's gonna throw pick sixes. He's gonna get sacked for loss of. He got sacked by at the 2-yard line, a loss of 20. Kyle Hamilton did drop a pick 6 on just a basically rolled out and tried to throw, and Kyle Hamilton dropped it. He threw another awful pick. He fumbled once on a sack, but the Browns recovered it. It was as bad as I've ever seen it. And I was just please. It was the longest 14 minutes of my life. I just wanted the Browns to punt it on first down. That's how bad it was. So getting over 36. It's not difficult if there's a couple of defensive touchdowns, but yeah, it's hard to see either one of these offenses doing much. But it's crazy to see a total. Is this the lowest total? Actually, there was probably a total with. What's the lowest total ever in an indoor game? We have to be approaching.
Yeah,
Easton
you literally
Stick?
you read my mind. 36 was done in 23 and 22.
Easton Stick, I think.
Raiders Jets in 2023 was 16-12 with a 36 total, and in 22 Rams Broncos was 51-14 with a 36 total. I don't know how that was 36, but maybe was that the Kendall Hinton game? I don't even remember. No.
What year was that?
22 Christmas. Rams Broncos was a 36.
Oh, yeah. They had that wide receiver that was starting at quarterback.
Maybe. I don't remember.
All right.
No, that wasn't. That was COVID year.
Something weird happened with that game.
That was Baker versus Russ.
36.
You sure you have that right?
I'll double check.
Is that when the Rams signed Baker the week before?
Maybe. That's a crazy total though.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Because that was at the end of the year.
Oh, we have a revenge game Sunday night.
Both teams were awful. I mean, they were it was 4.
Yeah, that's a 36. I see a 36.5 on another site. That's right.
And what was the other game?
The Raiders Jets 2013 in Vegas, 36. ended 16-12, barn burner.
Notice a bit of a trend there. The Raiders involved in these. All right, we got stuck. We got stuck on that game, but really good stuff there on Browns Raiders. Very actionable for the audience. Aaron Rodgers trying to play through a fractured wrist in his non-throwing hand. Kendra, action or distraction on that being a big big impediment to your handicap on this game between the Steelers and the awfully lucky week after week Chicago Bears. Bears -2.5.
We swore that we weren't going to touch this game, and I'm still kind of there. But the thought of Percocet Aaron Rodgers really is kind of doing something for me, because Aaron Rodgers off a perk, we might get like vintage Rodgers where he's just like, you know what? I'm going to go out there and sling it, because he's just going to be no thoughts, just vibe. Have you guys ever had surgery and taken a Percocet? You really just
Yeah.
your brain just goes like numb. Like it's just, there's no thoughts, no anger. You're just existing. I'm like, Percocet Aaron Rodgers might be the truth.
I'm pretty sure he operates like that on the regular.
No, he's a grudge holder. Like he screams at people, he gets mad, he yells. I think Percocet Aaron Rodgers might just have no feelings for once, and that's kind of scary in a good way for gamblers.
So you're in on potentially the fractured hand Rodgers.
Alexa, play Future.
All right, let's talk luck rankings. Unlucky favored teams are a strong trend in the luck rankings. That points the way of the Kansas City Chiefs, an unlucky team that is favored by 3. Nick Giffen did mention in the weekly article that he will not be betting Kansas City because he couldn't get there on the number, but that he will be cheering for Kansas City to further back his luck rankings. But Stuckey, action or distraction on the Chiefs as a luck rankings buy for you? Have you gotten to the window on this game?
I could maybe get there at flat 3. For what it's worth, I haven't had this nugget. KC's the 15th team since 1990 to be 5-5 straight up or worse and favored versus a team with an 80% win percentage in their 11th game or later. So 500 or worse, week 11 or later. Other team has an 80% win percentage. This is the 15th time that's happened. The other 14 and 0 straight up, 12-0-2 against the spread for the favored team. So, yeah, I mean, like the Chiefs definitely have been unlucky. They were lucky last year. They're dealing with that regression this year in close games. They're 0-5 in one-possession games. Last year, I think they were 11-0. And I mean, like this is usually there's a tax. Like last week there was a tax. That's why I couldn't play the Chiefs. There was a tax on like, oh, it's the Chiefs must win. There's not as much of a tax, especially if this is a flat 3. And Daniel Jones has turned back into a pumpkin. You look at his last 2 games. I mean, weeks 1 through 8, he had 3 interceptions, 9 sacks, and 2 fumbles total. The last 2 games, 4 interceptions, 12 sacks, 6 fumbles. I mean, basically like just tripling everything. So Spags is going to send the blitz. The one thing that's concerning is like how much, like Jonathan Taylor, how big of a game can he have? But yeah, at a flat 3, I think it's Chiefs or nothing. If they lose this game though, oh boy, it's trouble for Kansas City. I mean, the division's already gone. They're basically 4.5 back, and it's week 12. But the wild card, I mean, they're basically 2.5 back right now because they're 2 back of the like they lost to the Jags, they lost to the Chargers, right? They don't have any of these head-to-heads. So like this game is, and then you lose this, then you don't have the head-to-head with the Colts. So like this game is a massive swing for Kansas City's season. And if they lose this, I don't think they make the playoffs, which is crazy to think about. But I think they might be on the outside looking in. Whereas if the Chiefs do win, I think they eventually will make the playoffs. And if the Chiefs do win, got to start talking about the Jags and that division, because they play each other twice in December. The Colts could lose again next week against the Texans, and like it could be tied going into that
I'm
game
scared.
in Jacksonville.
I'm scared and sweaty.
The
Heavy
Jags, the
implications because
rest of the Jags
The
schedule
Jags
is
have the
very interesting.
Titans and the Cardinals the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. Very interesting wrap to the Jags schedule because they very much control their own destiny. Kendra, anything on this? We touched on this quite a bit on Tuesday, but anything else to add to Chiefs Colts before I got a doozy to wrap up action or distraction?
I need one more week to make my mind up about Daniel Jones. I want to see him against a good team, see how he does before I decide that he's back to being old Daniel Jones. I'm cheering for the Chiefs for obvious reasons, but they're in bet jail for me. So yeah, the Chiefs, the Patriots, and Lad McConkey are done for the year for me, or at least until the playoffs. Out, done,
Yeah.
sold, over.
This is my parole hearing for the Kansas City Chiefs this week. I do have them in pocket at -3. The Jags right now 4-1 to win the AFC South. So a bit of a correlated play, believe it or not, that if you think Kansas City's going to win this game, that does create value on that Jags bet. Something to think about. Jordan Hudson is apparently a competitive cheerleader. Probably could have guessed that if you'd given me 15 tries. She has a grumpy 73-year-old boyfriend who went to watch her latest competition. Kendra, action or distraction on that being the worst or the most down bad thing that you have? Is that worse than the most down bad thing that you have ever done for as any sort of somebody that you're trying to court or a significant other?
I'm
It's
not in a
probably a
beer
better
league.
question for Stucky now that I say that out loud.
I'm not in a beer league, cheer competition, league, whatever. But no, I've done worse. I've absolutely done worse.
We're gonna need that story, by the way. But Stucky, where do you
can
land
have
on
it
that?
if you want. My mom doesn't listen to this podcast.
I don't care for. I'm not discussing Bill Belichick anymore after he called a timeout last week with 20 seconds to go down 9 for no reason, and then Wake Forest scored on 4th down to end the game when they were just going to run out the clock, and it cost me money because I had their team total under. I still have no idea why he called that timeout. So he will not be getting any Christmas cards from me, and I will not be discussing his personal life moving forward.
Yeah, he's clearly got a lot on his mind. I think it's impacting his decision making across the board. But Kendra, go ahead. We're gonna want the story.
Okay, so in girl world, there's this like joke where the worst boyfriend you have is when you're 19 years old. I have dated perfect little PhD nerdy brunette men my entire life, except for the boy I dated when I was 19. So I fall into the joke of the worst man I dated was when I was 19. The guy that I dated when I was 19 got arrested, went to jail for dealing drugs, dropped out of school, quit the football, got kicked off the football team, and moved back in with his parents and was on house arrest. I was sneaking in and out of his window at night so that his parents didn't catch me coming over while he was on house arrest.
Like ankle bracelet and all?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's rough.
Sorry, Mom. Please don't ever listen to this show again.
It's a trust circle. I was gonna tell
Other
you guys
than that,
about.
I have dated like the nicest, most not even a speeding ticket boys ever. But that 19-year-old boyfriend, for some reason, just
They all fall for the bad boy at some point.
It's a thing.
I know. I get it.
It was only like 4 months of dating because then I was like, I can't be dating a felon. So he did, however, when he got out of jail the second time, got a burner phone and decided to text me pretending to be one of the Patriots players that I like did a story on that week. And I was like, he was like pretending to be him. And he was like, yeah, sorry, I got a new phone. And I was like, there's no way. And then he texted me and he was like, gotcha, bitch, it's so-and-so. And I was like, what?
Sounds like a great guy. Just a swell individual.
Hey,
and here
his
I was.
mugshot. I sent his mugshot to my friends like when I told them this story like later in life, and they were like, you know what? I get it. He's handsome. I was like, yep.
You know, there's more to life, Kendra.
I do follow the Sexy Mugshots Instagram. If you guys don't, it's a good one.
And here I was going to tell you guys about the time that I bought an easy bake oven for a girl that I had a crush on, but we move on. Still to come, 2 kings and a queen get nominated in our weekly parlay. But first, a word from our first lady as she chats about better friends at DraftKings.
The Favorites podcast has teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get 200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlays for a shot at even bigger payout. To get started, use promo code Favorites when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code Favorites when signing up and bet $5 to get 200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. The crown is yours.
Kendra, talk to us. What Week 12 prop has you in a pickle?
I had 37 different ways I could go with this. And if you watched me fill out our doc before the show, I
Intense.
filled out like 3 different things. I was going to go with the T. Higgins anytime pricing, because what is going on with Joe Burrow? Like, they're refusing to rule him out, refusing to say he's not going to play. I think it's stupid if they push him back early, but obviously it's still a possibility. I don't think he's going to play this week, but I almost went there. Instead, I did some digging, and the yardage total for BTJ this week is 63.5. He's averaged in the mid 50s. He's coming off an injury, can't hold on to the ball. Like, literally, I think he rubs bacon grease on his hands and gloves before every single game. I don't know if this is so much of a pickle, but I'm like, do I get to the window on the under just because that's been his average? And obviously he's been struggling. It's like, I put this in our notes. It's like expecting a nice sour pickle and getting a hot and spicy pickle, but I'm still leaning the under. Why is this number what it is?
It's a good question. That is a high number for a guy that's had a real case of the dropsies this year. And we've seen him go over that twice on the season.
Like,
I kind of love that. Stucky, any thoughts on the BTJ prop?
Nothing. I got nothing. I'm trying to figure out if Burrow's playing. I've been doing
I know.
college football all morning. I didn't realize that this is like.
Like this might happen.
I don't know why they're rushing their franchise quarterback back.
Because
Season behind
he might be rushing
horrendous
himself
offensive
back
line.
here.
I did a lot of research this morning, and it's because it's their remaining schedule, and to them, they could probably still argue to themselves that the division might still be in play, let alone like the wild card, because of what's going on with the Chiefs and the Colts maybe collapsing and all of those like different scenarios. Zach Taylor's quotes from the press conference were pretty insane. Like, he made it sound like there is like a serious potential that he could play this week. But I'm in agreement with why would you rush him back, risk
They're
further
3-7 with like the worst one of the worst
But-
defenses of all time and a bad offensive line.
but
And
they're the Bengals.
Chase is suspended this week too.
They're the Bengals. They're morons as a franchise. Like, let's just talk about it. Like, they are one of the dumbest like ownership, like everything. Like, if you before the season were like, if there was going to be a franchise to rush a star player back from an injury, who would you guess it would be? I'd be like, probably the Bengals.
Joe Burrow, by the way, practiced in full in the last practice for the Cincinnati Bengals. So there's a very real chance that he does play. I did bet T. Higgins anytime touchdown, and that was just based on Jamar Chase not playing and him being the number one guy. But I'll love that prop even more if Burrow is out there, even if they're rushing him back to the field. But I like that BTJ look. It's that time of the year. We have the best deal on Action Pro as a part of our Black Friday pre-sale. It's live now. Sign up for $40 off an annual subscription, which is the best sale you'll find all year. Action Pro users get real-time alerts as soon as experts like Sean Kerner, Nick Giffen, Stucky, who's here with us on the pod, Chris Raybon, once they track their picks in the app, boom, you get it. Without Action Pro, you'll need to wait 30 minutes to get alerts, and you risk not getting the best of the number. You'll also get real-time money percentages to see where smart money is flowing and access to our NFL player prop projections powered by Sean Kerner. The best deal of the year runs through Sunday. Go to actionnetwork.com/pro to sign up for $40 off an annual subscription. Time for the reason you all came here today, our 2 Kings and a Queen Parlay. A reminder for those out there, we nominate 2 plays, see if we can find some consensus on the board, and eventually land on our team-built parlay presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Kendra, get us started.
I had the over in the Seattle and the Tennessee game because I was thinking 40.5 feels low for a Seattle team that could put that up on the Titans even if they wanted to. But the other thing is here, if we get the Sam Darnold that we got last week, he could throw some interceptions. We could get some defensive scoring. Tennessee's good for probably 10 to 12 points a game. Feels a little low for a team like one team that could score this on their own, let alone if, kind of shit hits the fan. But we all seem to be in consensus on Vegas, so I think Vegas is our play before we even go any further.
Yeah, I vote Vegas. I kind of like the under in Seattle, Tennessee, just because Seattle could be a little flat after that Rams game. It's outdoors. I, they have some injuries on the interior offensive line, and the strength of the Tennessee defense is their interior defensive line with Sweat and Simmons. You saw that last week. They kind of wreaked havoc on that game. So interior pressure coming at Darnold, that could cause some issues. And I mean, this Seattle defense is the real deal. I'm just not sure all Tennessee's going to score. I mean, they have injuries at wide receiver. Uh, their offensive line is still terrible. Ward has been bad. Like, I just don't know how they consistently move the ball. So, yeah, let's go with Vegas minus 3.5. That's my vote,
Vegas,
Brandon.
baby.
Yeah, I'm the world's worst. Totals better in the NFL. It's just not my market. So I will dabble every once in a while, but not a strong opinion on that. I love the Raiders, and I think we should do it with the number. Let's not even money line this. Let's get bang for our buck here. We're gonna go in
Nice.
Las Vegas Raiders minus 3.5. Stucky, what about you?
My two either will go Saints. Um, it doesn't matter if it's money line or spread. Uh, the Falcons, I think, are toast. This is number one. It's a horrible spot. That dream crusher spot. They lost back-to-back games in overtime. One in overseas, one back in the States. Their defense is on the field like 80 plays a game. They got to be gassed. They were gassed at the end of last week. Saints coming off of a bye. Shuck has looked better, and there's no Drake London. I mean, he's probably one of the most valuable receivers in the NFL, given how good he is and given what's behind him. Kirk Cousins is toast. I mean, Cousins is 42nd out of 44 quarterbacks in EPA plus completion percentage over expectation. And he's played the Dolphins and the Panthers. He's only ahead of McCarthy and Gabriel. He's only one of four quarterbacks in that stat that are in the negative. The only other one is Ward. Saints, so what are they going to try to do? They're going to try to run the ball. Well, the Saints defense is good against the run, top 10 EPA success rate. They're just going to load the box. We already saw the Falcons with Cousins and without London. They lost by 28 at home to the Dolphins. So Saints should be able to run the ball here. That'll help out Shuck. And the on-off splits with and without London are devastating. I mean, they average 5.7 yards per play with him, 4.4 without him. Run game, most importantly, goes from 4.7 to 3.5. That's because you don't have to worry about London. Just stack the box, contain Bijan, Falcons go to sleep. So basically, if you look at their EPA per play without without London, they're basically the Browns offense, and only the Titans are worse. So I like the Saints to get it done. And then the Cowboys, although we need a 3.5 there, we could buy it for like minus 120, minus 125, I think at DraftKings. I played this earlier in the week at a better number, but still, even at a more expensive 3.5, that's okay for me. I mean, this Eagles offense can't get margin on anybody. They are who they are at this point. They have seven of their 8 wins this year by one possession. They're 7-1 in one possession games. Cowboys' recent additions on defense will help with their run D, play a lot of zone on the back end. That's what you want to do against Hurts. The Eagles can't really throw it anyway. And I trust this Cowboys offense to score. I know the Eagles defense really improving, but I think this is like a field goal game either way. Dak versus the division, for what it's worth, 31-13 against the spread. Just a crazy run that he's been on for his whole career, covering by about a touchdown per game, over 70% against the closing number. So those are my votes. We can go Saints, money line, or spread, or Cowboys, but need the 3.5.
Yeah,
I'm
I
on the
think that we.
Falcons, so I can't go with the Saints. And I don't love the Cowboys thing just because for some reason the Eagles always find ways to win, but gun to my head, I'm probably gonna go Cowboys.
I have a really hard time getting there on the Saints. I do think that's the right side, but having stared at that plus 1.5, on Sunday night and not firing on it and then looking at them as Tyler Shuck as a favorite. I have a golden rule in betting. Don't bet irresponsible favorites. And I think the Saints would fall into that bucket. So I have a hard time going against my own personal philosophy. I love the Cowboys bet though. So I like both of them, but I've already bet the Cowboys. So I'm good. I'm trying to decide on which one to vote on here because I already have a bet on, and this is a selfish bit of analysis here. I already have a bet on the Cowboys, and I kind of want in on the Saints. So part of me wants to throw the Saints in there just so that's my way of getting in on New Orleans. But I like the Dallas bet better. So I'm going to think logically and not selfishly here. I'll go Dallas, and I do think we should buy that extra half point. Evan, there's not totally a split as we seem to be in agreement here, but where would you land on this since there are some thought bubbles forming for us?
Yeah, it's either Saints money line or you buy the half. I think those are the options. I wouldn't even want to lay the 1.5 in a game with a total that low. Just anything can happen. I would rather take the money line. I would probably lean Saints as hard as it is. Team off a bye, other team back-to-back OT, especially with the fact coming overseas off OT, play OT again, other team off a bye. Like I think the spread is telling you that the Saints are obviously the right direction here, even with Cousins. Here's the number. Penix and Cousins last 4 games when targeting wide receivers, not Drake London, 13 receptions on 38 targets. Absolutely bonkers. So I assume that's going to be struggling as well against his defense. So I'd probably lean Saints.
All right, but Kendra,
Don't do it, Kravitz.
You like the Cowboys? I like the
Yeah.
Cowboys. We're going Cowboys. Thank you for the analysis, Evan.
Yeah, you're gonna go up. You're gonna have to go with 2 new plays, Brandon. Your plays are Bengals +7. That's no longer available. And
The Lions are, that's a different number now
-10. That's
too.
no longer available.
What?
Yeah,
So I did
Kravitz.
see. Well, I mean, it was +7 when I started working this morning. I got 7.5
there's tens.
yesterday.
There's tens. There's tens.
This
It's
is a
mostly 10.5.
DraftKings parlay.
All right.
10.5 at DraftKings.
10.5.
Okay. Let me think about this for a second because if we're out here buying if we're buying hooks here, I think we should. If we're going to let me just make my case for the Bengals. The Lions one is very simple. It is Dan Campbell, Jared Goff off a bye against the team that can't stop the run. This is perfectly catered to their ability to blow. This is what they do. They blow bad teams out and they do it off of losses and they do it at home. I mean, that's as simple as it gets. I have not bet that one yet for the record. This would just be, I think it's a really good nominee for the parlay. I am trading in my sad cats for some different cats here as far as Cincinnati goes. I might go broke fading the Patriots this year, but I'm going to go back for some more pain. I already bet this. This number was +8.5 just a couple of days ago, and I wanted in before it dipped any further. Still, at least there was moments ago, 7s in the market. DK was one of them. As we hit record, I think this was at 7. I'm not too worried about Chase being out because T. Higgins is still there. They should still be able to throw the football. And New England rather, has not faced many healthy or functional offenses this year. And I think it's helping their overall defensive numbers and making them
This is
look
another
better
one that's not healthy. But why? Now this has come down of 7. There's variance with Burrow. We don't know if he's going to play. Why don't we go? It feels like a money line dog.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Patriots are due for where they come out completely flat. Every NFL team has a couple games a year where they just don't show up. Like a game at Cincy, that could, they're fat and happy in cruise control, and then you have the upside of Burrow potentially playing.
Yeah, but this puts a lot of pressure on me, guys. Because then now
who cares? It's a money. It doesn't put. It actually puts no pressure on you. You're taking the shot.
We're basically predicting if Joe Burrow is going to play or not. That's what this comes down to.
Even if Burrow doesn't play, I don't think the Bengals are completely out of it. Like Flacco could just have a day.
Their defense is so bad.
Yeah, but the Patriots could just have an off day. I mean, that happens in the NFL. The Packers lost at home to the Panthers. The Lions lost to JJ McCarthy. Like this is at home.
I have an idea.
So I would go
Evan!
Bengals money line.
I have an idea here on how to handle this. Usually we come up to a full consensus here in the moment. What if we say if Burrow is announced as out, I think this number will tick back up to 7 or 7.5. I don't think it gets to the 8 again.
I think Burrow probably.
But if
But then
Burrow
we're losing value if he does.
if Burrow plays, then I'm good throwing the money line bet in there.
No,
So-
that's that. It's gonna. But once he gets announced, the price will be gone. We have to make our decision now.
Yeah,
This is
Evan.
We're not doing ifs. This is the.
This
we
is-
lock this in right now.
Yeah.
This line would come
Evan.
down much more if Burrow is in.
But
So
what are we arguing? Are we arguing Detroit 10.5 or the
Or
Cincinnati
Bengals
money line?
6.5.
yeah,
Oh no, the
Or
money line.
Cincinnati
though.
money line, I guess.
the 7's gone. So we might as well go money line with the upside of Burrow playing.
I mean,
So line will come
I
down even.
like both bets. Cincinnati money line and Detroit to blow out the Giants. I think are both.
Let's go
good
Bengals.
wagers.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
go
go
Bengals.
Bengals.
Cats.
Bengals, cats, sad cat parlay.
And it's
All right.
10. So Bengals, Saints, Bengals money line, Saints money line.
We had Dallas.
No, it's Dallas.
Oh,
It's
that's-
Raiders,
Bengals
Dallas.
money line.
3.5.
3.5 on the Cowboys, and we can go Raiders money line too, and then that's 8-1.
All right,
So
so
we'll play it a little
Raiders,
safer on
Yeah,
the
if
Raiders.
you're gonna do Bengals money line, do Raiders money line.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raiders money line, Bengals money line, Cowboys plus 3.5, plus 810 on DraftKings.
Woo.
that is our two kings and a queen parlay presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. I don't want to hear on Sunday. That'll do it for today's episode. Special thanks to our producers, Gifford Gould and David Payne. Shout out to our stats guy, Evan Abrams, helping us to make some very important decisions here. The favorites will return on Sunday night, a Week 12 recap. Catch it right here on the Action Network YouTube page. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time here on the Favorites Podcast presented by DraftKings. Let's cash these tickets.